Now, I don't remember who requested this video, but I recall someone saying, "Hey, why don't you make an action figure army building video? I would really appreciate that. Thumbs up!" And I thought, maybe that actually wouldn't be a bad idea, because a lot of people do want to get into army building, and a lot of people do army build. I myself really used to. I haven't been buying clone troopers like I have in the past. It's really just an instance of, I remember what I did to get all this plastic, and, this isn't the only army I've built. This is the biggest chunk of Imperials you'll ever see, because a lot of them are scattered about. But, I have an Imperial army that's, like I said, scattered about, but I've also built, I'm starting to get a bit of a First Order army, which I should probably cut back on that. Even Lego, seriously, even freaking Lego. So, what do I do when it comes to army building? Well, there are 3 methods of doing it. Number 1 is, actually, I should start with what you want to army build. What I primarily chose 3 3/4 inch clone troopers. I've seen videos online where a lot of people have chosen the same thing, or they've chosen stormtroopers, or they've chosen a crap ton of Lego minifigures. I'm talking like thousands of dollars of Lego minifigures. I'm talking crazy stuff. But when it comes to 3/4 inch action figures, I always get tongue-tied when I say that. It's a matter of knowing what you specifically want. If you want a G.I. Joe faction, say like Cobra Vipers, go for that. If you want, clone troopers, stormtroopers, battle droids, first thing you want to do is know which army you want to build. It's very hard to build more than one giant-ass army like I have when it comes to clones, because my stormtrooper army isn't nearly as big as my clone army. If it was, I would have them all lined up like I have here. Now, the thing is, when it comes to your army, after you've decided what you want to do, you need to really look into all the different variations and all the different versions, because, say, let's look at 212th Clone Troopers. Let's just say you want to build 212th Clone Troopers. There are multiple versions of 212th Clone Troopers, and you may find that one version is significantly cheaper than the other. Say the Vintage Collection version may be more expensive than the Saga Collection version, and the Comic Pack version, you may want to army build that. However, you realize that it's very rare, and it would be better to build, say, the Build-A-Droid version, something like that. I'm not really sure if that's completely factual, but one thing is there are always multiple versions of the exact same thing. Not always, I shouldn't have said that. But in many instances, there is a different version that has been released, maybe a better version, maybe a more outdated version. Either way, make sure you know what you're army building, because if you don't, then you're going to be wasting a lot of money on getting, say, oh, I spent $100 to get, let's say 5 of this, even though you could have spent $100 and gotten like 15 of something else. Now, granted, that's a very extreme number. And for my army, I'm going to get into tips and tricks after I go over, well, the next exact thing. Once you know what you want, once you've done your thing, you have 3 methods that you can do to build your army. Number 1, if you're very, very rich, you can just go on eBay and buy every single figure that you see. And that's a way to do it. If you're rich, and if you don't want to bother hunting for deals, don't worry about it. I myself, however, I am not rich, and I fall into the other category of, I have enough money to spend on useless plastic action figures, but I don't have too much as to where I can blow it all the time. So, what I do is I look for deals. I very much hunt around. Now, granted, I've been building this army ever since, say, good 2006. I've been building this for some time now, and I've gotten a lot of these figures as I see them brand new in stores as of the release. I remember walking into a store and seeing a figure as old as the Saga Collection 212. That's how long I've been doing this. But when it comes to more outdated figures that you're looking for, one place I highly recommend is forums. RebelScum.com forums, other toy forums. RebelScum.com is a place where I got a lot of my stuff. Go to forums before you go to eBay. You can often find prices very much lower than eBay, because forums, it's not a businessman selling to a customer, it's more like a collector selling to a collector. And you can really, get to know the collector, and who knows, maybe you might actually become friends with them, and they can hook you up with things later on. I've had that happen to me. And when it comes to forums and all that, you can find good deals and you can find bulk. I found once on a forum 10 of the original, we'll see if I can find it on the shelf, 10 of those guys, of the Comtech Stormtroopers, for like $20 including shipping. And that's a very good deal on 10 action figures, $2 a piece, with free shipping technically. So, forums, if you want to army build, I would highly recommend that. Now, if you are younger, if you're a teenager, or if you're not even a teenager yet, and you want to buy this plastic, one thing I do recommend is don't go overboard. When you're younger, you may not stay collecting. I personally, it's been my passion ever since I can remember. So I'm of course going to stick with it. But a lot of people, they just get into collecting from seeing videos on YouTube, and they regret it, and they're left with a bunch of action figures they really don't want to use. So, I would say, if you want to start army building, but if you're not really sure, I would say, don't go overboard. Like me, I went pretty overboard. Like, I don't need a lot of this stuff. I don't freaking need all of those white clone troopers there. And I know that there's people who have way more than I do, but when it comes down to it, I keep showing the same little group. Let's move over. When it comes down to it, it's a matter of knowing what you want, trying to find deals, and all that. Now, I do believe I did mention a third group. That is the group where you don't really have a lot of funds, and you want to have an army, but, your collecting is very limited. In which case, I would actually recommend you don't army build. Army building is just something to see a bunch of the same thing and just be happy with it. If you don't have a lot of money, I would highly suggest buying individual items, things that are different and unique. Things that, are not, are different and unique. I'm talking like, if you already have one clone trooper, boom, there's your one clone trooper. If you already have, say, one Captain Rex, boom, one Captain Rex. You may want like a Clone Wars version, but if you don't have a lot of money, I would recommend you don't army build, because it does get expensive. I mean, if I add up all the money I've spent on this stuff, it's insane. But one thing I do want to recommend, though, not really recommend as much as just state, action figures are an investment. If you want to sell them, you can probably sell them for higher than you bought them if you look in the right places when you initially buy them. However, if you don't want to sell them, and you don't want to be comfortable with the idea that you might have to sell them, I think you should start becoming comfortable with the idea that you may not be able to always keep these things. I myself, I'm comfortable if I need to sell some of this stuff. Now, granted, my clone troopers are my babies. I'd rather sell all this other stuff than my clone troopers, but I mean, if push comes to shove, and if I need the money, and say, hypothetically, if you've built up this army and you need the money, I would recommend you sell off some of the army, some of the duplicates, some of the things you don't need, so you can fund yourself now, and you still have at least a couple versions of that figure. When it comes to army building, it's just really tough to really give a lot of solid advice, because it's probably one of the most, I wouldn't want to say irresponsible, but one of the more, I'm just going to say, batshit crazy things you can do with action figure collecting, because you're essentially buying the exact same thing over and over, over and over. I fall for you over and over, over and over. I don't even try to. Hashtag 3 days grace. But it's... I hope this video was educational. If you want to get into army building, or if you just wanted to hear my thoughts on army building, I just want to make it. There you go. There's my army. That's pretty much it. Have the good day, and may the be with you force, I guess. I'm gonna do a little jump cut, and I'm just gonna see if there's anything else I might want to add. Nope, that was it. Bye.